Hello, everyone, and welcome to Edge Talk Radio. My name is Angela Zabel, that's me, and today we are going to be talking about unlocking your angelic ancestry with author Dr. Alisha Das from California. And I can't wait to get into this one because there is so much to uncover. So, with that, who am I? I have been connected to spirit, working with a team in the non-physical my entire life, sharing messages from a multitude of realms with people. I'm a teacher, coach, medium, radio show host, writer, retreat host, gallery reader, doing speaking engagements, offering guidance, mediumship, intuition with online private and group sessions, classes, and the Amplified Universe monthly membership, growing our connection to us, our world, all that's around us, and our role in it, sharing knowledge and working with people throughout the world. You can find me on pretty much all the social media. Go to my website, angelazabel.com. And today we are here. I'm going to try to get this in. Here we go. Yep. We are here with Edge Magazine. Edge Magazine is a leading events and media resource dedicated to all aspects of holistic living, health, wellness, and the mysteries beyond, sharing information, wisdom, and resources, committed to promoting businesses, organizations, and individuals who support a collective journey to wholeness and balance. It's currently distributed in 30 states and Canada with over 17,000 magazines per printing, and also a vibrant online magazine with over 42,000 people reached per month. Have the magazine shipped to your door, stay up to date with the newsletter, become a drop spot, and check out Kelly Wagner on the Being Curious show. And you can check out more at edgemagazine.net. And today we are here. We are here with Alisha Das, and I can't wait to get into this. She's an angel communicator, speaker, spiritual teacher, known for translating the angelic language and helping people connect and reconnect with their divine lineage. With more than 30 years of experience, she's the author of Your Angelic Ancestry with Hay House, and it's coming out in July of 2026. She's the host of the popular Live Your Love podcast, and she's led more than 500 seminars worldwide and so much more. I can't wait to get into that. And I want people, and I know there's people that are just listening, check out her website, aliciadas.com. And that is, I'm going to spell it for those out there listening, ALISHADAS.com. Also check her out on Facebook, Instagram, and I encourage you to go check out her website. There is so much to see on there. And I also saw on your website you have a little bit of checking into, there's a freebie on there. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, well, I have lots of freebies on there, but there's an angel toolkit where you get 6 videos and PDFs and lots of things to download. So that's free at aliciadoss.com. And then if you order my book coming out with Penguin Random House, Hay House, that is, you get a free 5 module course, an invitation to my launch event with influencers, Andrew Harvey, Sonia Choquette, Marie Diamond, and Robert Holden. And also you get meditation. So all kinds of things. If you just order one book, you get lots of bonuses. If you just go to order it from my website, but you can order it from anywhere and then just go back to the website and fill out the very brief form with your email and we will send you bonuses galore.
I love that. I love that. And Alicia, I am so happy to have you on here. And just for other people, also check out her podcast, the Live Your Love podcast, because I've been seeing different things and it looks amazing. And then also
Yeah.
she has workshops, live events. She's doing so much. So definitely check it out. And Alicia, I just got to say thank you so much for being on here. And I've got to ask, what brought you to write the book, Your Angelic Ancestry?
Well, Angela, although I like to call you Angel too, I thank you for asking, and I'm delighted to be with you, and thank you for having me on.
Thank
What,
you.
of course, it was really a strong inner calling for many decades of doing this work professionally and bringing people to their own angelic ancestry, really their archangelic ancestry. It felt like the book was answered more than written. And I actually had a life-threatening illness. And when I really surrendered and agreed to write the book I was born to write, and do the work I was born to do and not play it safe, I was healed. And so that was a very compelling encouragement to write the book. And then when I got the book deal with Hay House, it was great because it gave me deadlines. So if you're trying to put 30 years into a book and you have deadlines, it does make you drop the perfectionism and just send it in. And so it's really, really my love letter, not only to the angels, but to humans and the bridging of both.
I love that. And I've got to say, for those people out there, if you don't follow her on some of her social media, I was checking out one of yours today where you were bringing in Archangel Gabriel, and
Yes.
it was very enlightening to hear. And that's the thing with you that I really love is you are so diversified in like all of your background, everything you've done. You've been, on TV, you've been doing, you have like the pre-med background, you have so much going on. How in the world did you make it okay and
Hmm.
intellectually to say,
Hmm.
you know, here's this world that we live in, and here's
Yeah.
this angelic world. How did you rectify both of them? How did you bring that together when you have these two different ideas?
Yes, really. Well, Angela, I would started having experiences with angels when I was very young. About 4 years old is my first conscious. I'm sure I did before that, but that's my first when I consciously remember talking to them. And I have a rare disease in my family, which is that everybody is an MD. Like everybody's an MD. So it is a family of scientists, and they like measurable empirical evidence that things work. And so, rather than fighting against that, I utilized it in my work when I started doing the spiritual work because I really wanted to know that what I was doing was getting results for people. They were happier, they were feeling more at peace, they were feeling whole, they were receiving healings, etc. So it was really the experience first. Our mind thinks we need to understand something and then we can experience it. And it's usually the opposite with matters of the spirit and certainly the heart too. Of we have the spiritual experiences. And of course, we have to be a little open. And
Yeah,
then
that helps.
yeah, and then we start to put roots under our wings. So for me, it's the mind does have to give up at a certain point and allow, the ego has to give up and allow the spiritual experiences. But I think we need both. I don't, otherwise we can tend to do a spiritual bypass, and that doesn't serve us either. I think we need to be, as mentioned, we really need to be rooted as well as winged.
And I think that's really important that we can bring both sides together. And I like how you said it was that it was a disease with MDs. That's pretty funny. But it's learning to put both of those parts together. And I think now the energy is here supporting us to help us find ways to do that
Mhm.
intellectually without dismissing one or the other. And I think that's
Mhm.
something really important. And I want to go back because I'm just hearing niggling from my team, and they're saying, when you talked about having interactions when you were 4, what was that like for you?
Well, I was experiencing something that was really challenging and would be really for any child. And the angels, what I remember mostly is these monolithic, beautiful silver and white beings talking to me in their own language. And of course, as a child, you have a lot less filters, right? And so I talked back in
Right.
their own language. And that really kept me whole until I could really work to heal the trauma years later. And so that opened me up to communication with them. And when you start something at such a young age, it becomes part of your nature. And you don't have that resistance to it that you might later. It's kind of like learning a language at a very young age. It's much easier when you're younger. And then this was a language. This was the angelic language. And so really it was very natural to me. It was very familiar. And that's interesting. Like sometimes I very rarely do it. I speak the angelic out loud because it transports people to another place. And I would certainly never do it on a podcast or anything because if somebody's driving, but when I do,
That's
people
a good
are
idea.
yes, yes. When I do, people are, they say it sounded so familiar. like it's a completely different
Mm,
language, but it sounded like a language that they somehow knew. And it's because we hail from the angelic realm. It predated this level by millions of years. And so many of us, if not all of us, have at least taken a field trip there or had many lifetimes there. And now we're in a time where a portal has opened and we can recall that heritage and bring it present.
I love that. And like you talking about the light language and the angelic language, and I know you don't do it on the podcast and that, but is there times you do it? Do you do, I think you had groups you do,
Yeah,
or
I've done, oh gosh,
do you
about
speak the language in different times?
yeah, yeah. Well, I speak it mostly inwardly, but I speak it myself constantly because my whole book came from the language. Where the angels, I would speak to them, and the angelic, they would disseminate the words to me, and that's the book. So there's angel messages, and that's angels can tend to speak very formally and very profoundly. So it would be too much to have a ton of that in the book. So I have angel messages so people can get the direct transmission. And then the rest of it, I edited and made much more accessible. There's lots of stories, so it's fun to read. And so yes, that's where my work comes from. Do I speak it out loud? I do. Usually in a group, I've done about 350 groups, seminars, workshops through the years. And recently I did actually this last Sunday, I had a gathering and I did speak it out loud when it's called for. But much of the time I don't because
Mm.
again, I don't know what somebody is doing. If they're all in person and we're all in one place and I'm not streaming it, it's a lot more likely that I would do that because again, it just people tend to kind of go into this whole other realm and that wouldn't be good if they're walking, if they're, as we often listen to podcasts or classes, while we're doing something else. And so, but if everybody's in person, then I will do it a little bit because it really bridges people right in to the angelic, archangelic, really. We're when I say angelic, and the book was called Your Archangelic Ancestry, but nobody could say it. So, um,
Oh,
but
that's why you
you can, but most people, for some reason, they know my publisher even was tripping over it. So that's why I changed it to your angelic. But so yeah, to answer your question, I do speak it out loud some, but I in a very safe environment for people.
Absolutely. And as when you were younger, you were hearing the language and you intuitively knew what they were saying, I would assume,
Mhm.
because you remembered who you are. And do you feel a lot of what we are here doing, people understanding and learning, do you feel a lot of it is remembering who we are?
Yes, 100%. And I love how you said that because it's absolutely remembering because of course we came from God, spirit, the divine, whatever you want to call a higher force. That's who we came from. So we came from angels before we were humans. And by the way, we had to be an archangel to exist in the human realm because of free will, free choice, right? But and as we remember God, Spirit, the divine, it is very much a remembering. It's a waking up to what's always been so.
I love that. I love that because I think so many people they look at themselves as something different, something separate, and they feel like they need to learn and they're always pushing and pushing themselves. And to look at it instead of just remembering who we are, remembering what we know. And is that why? And I'm curious, you've been working in this field for 30 plus years, but what drew you to do the book now?
Yeah, you have great questions. What drew me to do the book now is a few things. First of all, I got the book deal. I had deadlines, by golly. You don't tell Penguin Random House, like, yeah, I'll get it in a year. Right now, no, you have deadlines, sister. So that helped. But what caused me to finally turn in the proposals, because it's a whole deal to publish with a major publishing house, was seeing people. It's like the concept sounded outrageous even to me. You were an archangel, now you're an archangel in the flesh, and people more and more and more. It started to get into the hundreds and the thousands of people were like, oh yeah, of course, Once they get past that, that sounds weird, then they go, oh, well, that actually makes a lot of sense. Once I saw enough nodding heads and enough people, and once I saw that people could remember their
Mhm.
archangelic name with a meditation, which I refined and refined and refined. And once they could do that without me, I went, okay, now it's ready to be put in book form and go out in a wider way. I don't have to sit with each person to, and help them recall their name. So once I did it, and again, the disease in my family, we're all scientists. Once I went, okay, this actually really works, and I had enough data, and I'm a total nerd. Once I had enough data and went, okay, this worked. It's changing lives. Now I can put it into a book. And that honestly, it took 30 years. And then it was the wonder of finding the right agent, which was Bill Gladstone. His amazing spiritual agent has, all the Neil Donald Walsh and all the big spiritual authors and Eckhart Tolle, etc. And I was the last author he signed, and then he passed away.
Wow.
But
What a way
that
to end his career, if you
Oh
ask
my
me.
gosh. Well, that was like, I'm like, oh, that's not fair. But he took the book to Hay House. They gave me a 2-book deal and that was that. And it was just, I think it was divine timing, if you will.
Absolutely. I love that. And for me, I think the data needed out there, I think
Mhm,
it's so important because
mhm.
there are so many people in the left brain and you're trying to make sense of all this crazy stuff going on and I think having the data is so important and having the people out there that are compiling that, keeping that out there. I think it's important to bring both of these worlds together and when people ask questions, well, here it is, here it is. And you can show behind everything behind it. So I
Yeah,
think it's extremely important what you've been doing, getting
thank you.
that out there. So my team is laughing. You wonder why you had that type of background. It's so you can get it all
Yeah, yeah.
out.
Well, I think it helps our mind relax. I want to know the data behind things. If I'm going to do something, I want to know, wait, how, this is not your first rodeo, right? You've tried this with other people. And so data is, there's an end point to where it's useful, but it does help our mind relax and go, okay, I can trust this. Now I'm going to go beyond the mind.
Absolutely. And I think it's so good to have that data because the human mind can take that in,
Hmm.
process it, and then
Hmm.
move you to the next level. And that's what it's all about, moving to the next level
Complete.
and moving us forward. And I'm going to ask, so your book is it's Your Angelic Ancestry, Discover Your Angelic Name, Heritage and Higher Purpose.
Archangelic name. Discover your archangelic name.
Oh, I didn't see that in there. Okay. Your archangelic name.
Uh-huh.
What happened when you discovered your name and what was it? Or can you share it? Or do you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, and by the way, angel and archangel, I do, sometimes use them interchangeably, but it is very different.
Yeah.
So angels don't have individuation. They don't have individual souls. They're in a collective. So this is why I always suggest we work with great archangels, not even just archangels. And we, as I said, we had to be archangels because the archangels do have
Yeah.
individual souls and free will, free
Uh-huh.
choice. So how could we be here in this crazy place where if we want to lop our baby sister on the head or, rob a bank or whatever, we would have to have that archangelic heritage, even just one lifetime as an archangel, so that we could be here with free choice and be at least somewhat responsible to it. Yes, we have all kinds of people doing things where it's like, well, I don't know. But, ultimately in the end, not one soul will be lost. I know it
I
doesn't always
love
seem like that in this crazy world, but so when I heard my angelic name, my archangelic name, I was 24, I think. Um, and I was in my very first and last angelic workshop facilitated by someone else. I
Interesting.
facilitated hundreds on my own. Well, you know, they didn't let me, I have the team upstairs too. They didn't let me read. I would like pick up these. I bought so many books on angels and then I would just drop them like they were burning me. They would not let
Oh,
me read. They would not let me go on the net when the net was the thing, you know, and because they wanted me to go direct. And I think because I'm such a perennial student, not a perennial, a constant student. I'm always loving to learn. Again, the disease in my family, right?
it's a good disease to have, sounds like.
To an extent, it is. But
Yeah.
you know, I would be such a constant professional student that I think that they really wanted me to go direct, you know,
Yeah.
and go, okay, this is an area where you go direct and then teach it. Of course, I'm still learning, but I mostly learn from them. um, and meaning the angels, the archangels, spirit. And I do have a spiritual teacher. I have since I was very young, you know, because I think we always need to be teaching the people who are just behind us and learning from the people just ahead of us. And I will always have, I always work with practitioners, all, you know, coaching. I'm always having somebody to go, hey, where's my blind spot?
I love that. And I love the fact how you said that. You're always teaching the people just behind you and then learning from the people right in front of you. And
Yeah.
that's something so important because a lot of people, for me, it's like people sometimes, because, and I'm sure this happens, where they kind of put you on a pedestal.
Mhm.
And it's like, do you really need to be on a pedestal to be?
Yeah, exactly. Drives me nuts because that's one thing. Angels don't have hierarchy. So an angel just spawned from God. They view as the same as a monolithic great archangel that has existed 20 universes ago, right? There's no hierarchy. And we do this hierarchy thing of higher and lower because you see, angels serve within time and space, but they're not subject to it. There's no time and space in the angelic. So if we want to experience infinity, and eternality, the angels can help us do that. And I a million percent agree with you. I'm just going to call you Angel. So there. Um,
That's just fine.
I a million percent agree with you. Like the whole hierarchy thing, that is old. That is old. That needs to be dispensed along with the patriarchy or matriarchy for that matter. We are souls, not
Yeah.
man or woman. One is better, you know, it's like we're souls. And ugh, I used to do, I used to trick my students, I don't even call them participants in my classes.
Started off differently.
Yes, I used to trick them because they would stand up and applaud when I and my partner would walk into the room, and that would drive me nuts. So I
Oh,
would trick them and like have all the lights off and like call on the light when the lights are off so that when we turned the lights on, we were just sitting on the stage so they couldn't do that. So I could say, and because I'm small, I'm like, all right, I have to be on a stage because they can't see me, you know, but I wanted it to be very clear that we are all in this together. Like Ram Dass so beautifully said, we're just walking each other home.
I love that. And that's something so important to realize. There's nobody above anyone else here or on the other side.
Oh,
And it's having this knowing you're equal to everybody and everything. And that's
yes.
something so important to get, I feel, is such a big message because so many people feel less than. And I feel that's where your book really comes in and really shines your angelic ancestry, your archangelic ancestry, because that's what
Right.
we really wanted. But to know you come from that angelic ancestry. And I've got to ask, because I keep hearing there's going to be
Mm-hmm.
people asking, well,
Mm-hmm.
only certain people have the angelic ancestry. Not everybody has it. What's your opinion on that?
Mm. Most people on this planet, almost all people on this planet, have an angelic ancestry because, again, the angelic is so ancient compared to this planet.
Yeah.
So ancient. And so most people do have at least taken a field trip there, if not had thousands of lifetimes there. Okay? And
Yeah.
it's really more the latter, right? And so everybody, not everybody. No, on the entire planet, there's 8 billion people. There are people who they're younger souls, right? We
Yeah,
know that. We see younger souls. Usually it's the people raping and pillaging and, waging wars. Those are younger souls. Um,
absolutely.
not always, but mostly, because they're like, oh, let me murder people. That'll be fun next lifetime. Oh, let me rape and pillage. That'll be fun next lifetime. And some point they go, this is kind of exhausting and I'm not really learning anything. Maybe let me do something differently here. So there are people who have just had human lifetimes. There's people who have not been in the angelic. They might be extraterrestrial. Most people have had angelic, extraterrestrial, different, you know, being in a realm where it was just a collective in the mind, or being in a realm where it was just the collective in the astral, or whatever, just in the astral level. Not, I mean, just in, but in the astral level, different realms. So we've often had many different forms. So I would say most people have angelic heritage. People who are on a spiritual path tend to have had a lot of lifetimes in the angelic. Why? Because angels remember God with every breath,
I
right?
love that.
But there are people who don't. They're rare. They're very rare. They're rare. And sometimes people have had many more lifetimes as a deva, a nature spirit, right, than they have in the angelic. And so there's all different heritages.
I love that. And I love, you know, I think I'm just backing up here. They're backing me up.
Mm.
They want to say you just talked about how some people go into the nature realm and they come and they have experiences there, lifetimes there. And
Mhm.
that's something I feel people need to understand more of, that they can
Yeah.
have these other experiences, not just human or
Mhm.
extraterrestrial or
Mhm.
any or the consciousness or the angelic, but also the nature realm. And
Mhm.
what do you feel with the nature realm personally now
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
going on? Is the nature realm there to help us with this? Like some call it the ascension of our
Mhm.
consciousness. What's your
Mhm.
thought on that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, the nature is sentient. There are spirits of nature, like a mountain deva is the consciousness of the mountain. It's said that every plant, I mean, this is through several religions, every plant has a spirit, singing it taller. And you can hear, I also hear the language of the devas. I don't speak it. I cannot speak it at all, but I can hear it. So, but I think most people can. If you go out and most sensitives, if you go out in nature, you can hear a singing, you can hear a tone in nature. So, yes, like it even gets so basic as the water element is in a collective, right? The drops of water, they're in a collective. So, if we want to, it's why we love going and gazing at the ocean or a reflecting pool, or fountains. Water
Yeah.
is in a collective, and we want to know, well, what's it like to be one with all things? Well, go into the consciousness of water. See, angels evolve opposite to humans, devas, nature spirits also. So, angels and nature spirits are born in a collective. They're all one. They don't know where one ends and the other begins. They evolve to individuation. Same with nature. Nature is in a collective, drops of water all in an ocean, right? They evolve to an individuation of, say, like the spirit of the Pacific Ocean or the spirit of the Atlantic Ocean, the logos of Mother Earth,
The
right?
logos, what's the logo?
Logos is the
Okay.
consciousness of Mother Earth. We call her Mother Gaia. Why do we call her Mother Gaia instead of just dirt? Because she has sentience. She has a spirit. She has a soul. But dirt is in a collective. Dirt is all one. But it evolves to Mother Gaia.
I love that. I love that. And for those of you who don't know, I am taking notes on the side at the same time, only because what I do is I also put what I've learned from my guests, and that goes into newsletter and posts I'll
Oh,
put on because everybody everybody has so much information. It's so much knowledge. So much is being shared right now. And I love to get it down to know what did I learn? And I hope those watching this will think about what they've learned from this conversation because I feel with you, Alicia, it is just amazing everything you're bringing through and talking with the
Oh.
angelic realm and bringing that angelic and letting people know. And my team is saying darn near everyone has the angelic realm in it.
Mhm,
So,
mhm, mhm. I agree with your team. I
so
agree with your
if
team.
you're questioning, like it's
Yeah,
okay.
you do. If you're even questioning it, yeah, the answer is yes.
Yes.
Who, because people who would be attracted to listening to a beautiful radio show that has a spiritual focus probably are not a brand new soul that's, just spawned from I mean there's everything is spawned from God, but a brand new soul, not all that interested in things of this nature probably wouldn't be listening. So if you're listening, yes, you have an angelic ancestry or a natural ancestry and or extraterrestrial, usually all three, and then there's lots more forms.
There's so much more out there. I love the remembering part of it, having the remembering part, knowing
Yeah.
you're remembering because and my team is niggling me. So what do you say to people who think they're not worthy of working with the angelic realm or the divas? What do you say to people that feel they're not worthy or don't know enough to be working in those realms?
I would say, beloved, that is ego. See, the
Mm.
ego goes, I have to be special. So if the ego can't
Ah,
be if I can't be the greatest of the great, I'm going to be the least of the least, right? Because that still
ah,
makes me special. This, angelic stuff and the natural stuff, it's all for other people. I'm special here. I'm especially pathetic, right? That's still ego. It's still ego. So I would say, and it's funny because we go, well, that sounds a little harsh, but when you think of it that way, you go, oh, wait, this unworthy thing. That's actually my ego trying to hold on to itself. Let me just let that go and go, it's not so much that I am worthy, but that God is worthy to remember itself through me.
mm. And I love that where God is worthy of remembering itself through you because we are all extensions, I feel.
Mhm.
My opinion, my opinion
Agreed.
is we're all extensions of God. We're all extensions of the angelic. We're all extensions of the nature. We've had so many experiences here in all of those different realms. And now we're
Yeah,
just remembering. And my opinion only, I feel like that's something why we're always called to nature. Clear your head, take a walk outside. It's to remember we're part of it. We are
yeah.
part of everything there.
100%, 100%. And that's also how working with the angelic can help us because they are in a collective, right? They evolve to individuation. They evolve to being an archangel with individual souls, right? We're born in individuation and we evolve to, oh, we're all one. So when we work with the angelic or nature or even the elements, we go, oh, okay, I'm going to surrender and remember that I am one with all that is.
Yes.
And that's the Aquarian age. Right? The Aquarian age is the age of we, and the Piscean age, which we just came out of, was the age of me. Right? So the Aquarian age is the age of the collective, the golden age. And guess what the sign of Aquarius is?
Oh gosh, I can't remember.
The angel, angels.
Oh, that's right.
So that's another, and I talk in my book like, why now? Why is this portal open to the angelic? Well, partly because there's lots of metaphysical and karmic convergences that cause this to be possible. But that's one of them is the angels help us move into the Aquarian age, the collective. It's not just about me and what I can gain and the money and the, me, which with the Piscean age was more that, right? The
Yes,
Aquarian is more the age of we.
I love that.
Together, we're marching each other home.
And and I think for me, I'm excited to be in this stage of seeing all this expansion. And
Mhm.
you've been doing this for 30 years. Have you noticed a big difference between now and like when you started? Are you noticing a big difference?
Massive difference. And it's great and it's hopeful and it's optimistic. I just recorded the episode with Sonia Choquette, who's a beautiful spiritual teacher for my launch. And she's been doing it for 50 years since she
Wow.
was, I think, 15. And she said the same thing. Yes, people are so much more open now. Like if I think of what I tried to tell people 30 years ago and they would have like locked me up. And now people are like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that makes sense." I'm like, "Really? It does?" Because I've been telling them that for 30 years. But so people are more open now. There is a lot of darkness on the planet. I grant you that. But there's more light
Yeah.
where people are going, yeah, of course. Where you see in businesses, they're talking about mindfulness. I just spoke at the Hope, not just, but I spoke at the Hope Global Forum in December, and that's 5,400 business people.
I love
And then it's a global economic summit. I talked about angels. And I'm like, they're going to, you know how in the comics, like you'd see a hook like pull somebody off the stage?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm waiting for the hook. And you know what they did? They applauded.
I
People
love
are
it.
ready. They're ready to talk about the light. You keep saying like they told me this and they like for me that is as natural as saying, there's a letter A behind you. Like, yeah, of course they're talking to you. And but people are and it's not just because I'm in California, but people are ready. They're like, oh yeah, my God, there is something so much more than this body.
Yes. I think that's something so important that we are so much more than just our body. We have so much more within us. And I really love the fact that you were able to talk to business people because I've been feeling that like business is changing, jobs are changing, that whole mentality is going to be changing. And it already is. But you're seeing it when and my team is saying, talk about data. When
Mhm.
you
Yep.
when you have that many people in an audience, that's data to show
Yeah.
people are willing to listen. People are not thinking it's crazy. People are going like, "Oh yeah, okay, okay," and
Mhm.
accepting it for what it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
But not only that, bringing it into the businesses. And I'm just hearing the businesses, the government, things are changing at such an extreme level on all levels, all the way around. Have and my team is I'm just hearing laughter. When
Mhm.
you got the invitation to be there for the business and talk about angels, how did that make you feel?
Scared. Scared. Like, I am very, very, very used to speaking to spiritual audiences.
Right,
Right? I've been a speaker for decades, and before that, an actress. So crowds don't scare me, you know.
right.
And but that one did. That one did. And yet, Angel, they were so open, so kind, so supportive. And it just shows that. And I have this beautiful story in the book about a businessman, very high level business, Fortune 100 consultant, and
Wow.
he was working with the banks, the world's banks, the world banks CEOs.
Wow.
And they were the top of the top, the head of I can't say which banks, but the head of all the banks we know. And he had been my client for 10 years. And Archangel Michael came through him. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to talk to bankers. And yet he did. And the story of it's in the book. And you just go, and I think the reason that those business people were so receptive to me is because I just went, okay, I gotta just jump. And I was so convicted and so passionate, and I did not hold back. And people can feel that. I talked about it was the gathering. So I was there to talk about the Palisades fire. So I'm sitting in Pacific Palisades. I am in my home is intact, and I was talking about how the angels saved my home, and it's a beautiful story. And they didn't bat an eye. And then I talked about like the importance of disaster relief and helping because we think, oh, that just affects those people with the hurricane or whatever. It's like, no, it affects all of us. And
Yes.
it's not just, it's like even the strong will fall if we don't come together. And again, there's that coming together. and go, I am my brother's keeper.
And that's something really important to realize. So many people are coming together at this time that you never ever would have thought would be open to any
Mhm.
of this. And just as a group of people, as humanity, you really are seeing people coming together. And I'm just thinking, like, I know I'm going to bring back a little bit to the story with you in the Palisades fire,
Hmm.
because you had Marie Diamond, I believe, was
Hmm.
helped with your home and
Hmm.
to do the feng shui and the clearing with your home.
Hmm.
And I feel everything makes a difference in what we're
Hmm.
doing. And this gave you the opportunity to continue what you're doing without any backups, without
Hmm.
any roadblocks in front of you. You were able to
Yeah.
continue telling your story and finishing your book. They're laughing. Finishing your
Yes.
book.
Yes, because if I had, it certainly doesn't make me special. So I did see the angels on the roof. The fire started a few thousand feet from my home. So the fact that my
Wow.
home is here is miraculous. It's still been a deal, I've had to remediate 4 times, etc. But um, they didn't save it because I'm special. They saved it because the information in that book is special and can help. And if I had had to deal with rebuilding and all of that, it would have been, as it was, the book was delayed because of the fire, because I was moving all over the place and displaced for a year and dealing with insurance and all that. But it would have been delayed for 2, 3, 4 years. So, and I think that it needed to come out now.
And sometimes so timing is something with this book. Timing is for you with this book having at the right time for it to come out.
Yeah.
Have the angelics ever given you information on timing or had to tell you like slow down, you have to wait a little bit for something that you had coming up?
All the time. All the time. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, I have so many examples of that. Um, like when I was writing the proposal, because to get a traditional trad, they call it trad publisher, to get one of the big five or 6 or 7 the publishing houses, you have got to write a proposal. You have to have an agent, you can't just send it to them. You got to have an agent. And I wrote my proposal, and the angels kept saying to me, "We have your agent, we have your publisher." And then I kept getting things like major agent said, I would love to sign you, but you got to take out the chapter on Christ. Because it's not about
Hmm.
Christianity, it's the Christ consciousness that applies to all of us,
Right.
right? And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't do that. Swear to God. Next day, major agent, major agent. I would love to sign you, but your book needs to be more Christian.
Oh God.
You can't say everybody, is loved and is ultimately saved and all that, only Christians. I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I mean, you see, my last name is Das. I'm half Indian, right?
Ah,
So, yeah. And then they kept saying, we have your agent, we have your publisher. I'm like, are you sure? Because I could paper that wall behind me with rejection slips. We have your agent, we have your publisher. When I was about to and then a huge agent said she'd sign me. And then the next day she changed her mind. And so this went on and on. We have your agent, we have your publisher. I'm like, I am just going to self-publish. We have your agent and we have your publisher. And then on the same day, I don't know what the astrological significance of that day was. I got a call from Reed Tracy of Hay House offering me a book deal, and Bill Gladstone of Waterside Productions offering to sign me as my agent. Bill was
wow.
a way bigger agent than I had even hoped for. He said yes. Like I said, he had he had Eckhart Tolle and Neil Donald Walsh and John Assaraf and all the big spiritual authors, right? And then of course Hay House was my dream because they're owned by Penguin Random House, so that is one of the big five, but they're a spiritual publishing company. So I went, all right, you guys were right. Because I wanted to sign with one of those agents and I wanted to sign with one of the smaller publishers. And had I done that, I would not be I would not be with Hay House, which is where I should be, and I would not have the 2 book deal because Bill turned it into a 2 book deal. and then very inconveniently,
Right.
inconsiderately died. He talked about an angel. He was really an angel. He was someone who brought consciousness to the forefront. You know,
Oh.
he was one of the very first angels who
That's
took a
something really
chance.
important.
Mhm.
I love that. That's something really important. A lot of people look at only the people writing books or only the people doing seminars are the ones that are making an impact, but it's everyone. It's everyone going at the same
Absolutely.
time. And he's a, an agent, but look at all the people he's been able to get more for them, to bring
Mhm.
them out on the world stage
Mhm.
more than anyone else could do. That's a
True.
huge part of it. Huge
Well,
part.
also, like, see, we all have a part to play that nobody else can play. And so if somebody's just sitting in silence and meditating and sending love into the collective, that to me is equally important as somebody who has millions of followers, possibly more. I have a friend,
I'm
one of my very best friends in the world for most of my life, passed away recently, and I officiated his memorial a couple days, Sunday actually, in Santa Barbara. And oh my God, he was a very simple person. He, at the end of his, or for most of his life, um, but the impact and the profundity of his consciousness, people in the room were just weeping with how profound he was. And he actually was very, very affluent. He was born into a family. His father founded Dun and Bradstreet, founded it.
wow.
That's you know, and he had almost unfathomable wealth, and he gave it away and lived a very simple life, dedicated, devoted to spirit. And his consciousness was profound. I mean, you would not believe. I mean, it was almost like everybody in the room was in ecstasy, connecting to his spirit because he was someone who really walked the talk. Very simple, lived on a mountain. Like I took, he really helped raise my boys because, and he, so it's hard to see him though because he didn't have a cell phone, barely had an email. I mean, I'm talking just up till a couple of months ago. And so I would have to go drive up on this very remote mountain, to take my boys to see him. And they really grew up with him. And so very simple life, but profound impact.
I just feel, you talked about the Christ consciousness. I really feel he embodied that Christ consciousness. And that was him just, it almost feels like him walking step in step with Jesus at the
Yeah.
same time, doing that same type of message, that same type of energy and healing. He really embodied that throughout his whole life. Even when he was young, I feel with
Mhm.
him, he was
Mhm.
very much the same. I don't feel this was somebody who really changed a lot. It was more, this is who he was, and this is he walked the talk, and he did everything. And definitely someone who is so needed on this earth, like you said, people who sit in meditation and share love. That is that's I feel a lot of times like people who can sit in meditation for hours and do that. I'm
Mhm.
like, you guys are the rock stars, man.
True story. True story. And look how simply Jesus lived. Yeah,
Yes.
I know it was a couple thousand years ago, but still, there were people who did not live simply at all a couple thousand years ago and had Ted, which is the name of my friend. I mean, he, like I said, unfathomable wealth, in which he gave away, and he ended up living at the end of his life. He had a home on this remote ranch, but he was like, oh, I don't need that, and he gave his home to somebody, and he ended up living in a little trailer, you know.
Wow.
And he's and yeah, no, it's I not that I'm condoning, like, not I'm saying we need to go live on a mountaintop because in
Right.
some ways it's much harder to be in society and maintain our awareness and maintain our purity. But it's just this thing of, and you know what he said more than anything else when anybody asked how he was? And it's funny because I was officiating the memorial and I said to the crowd, "What did Ted say if you asked how he was?" And the whole crowd in unison said, "I'm a happy boy."
I love that. I love that. I love that. That's That's the epitome of living within who you are, living within your spirit. But you, did he choose you to do the officiating ahead of time?
No, not
Because
ahead
I'm
of
feeling
time.
like but I feel like you were top choice. If anybody was going to do it, it's going to be you.
Well, yeah, I was the first person they called when they found him, uh, lying
Yeah,
peacefully on the floor of his trailer. I was, they knew we had been closed for decades.
yeah,
So I wanted to do it, but I didn't even ask to do it. There was a whole committee planning this memorial because he was very loved. And then it was just like, it was just obvious that I was the one who was supposed to do it.
yes,
But
yes.
I mean, lots of people contributed. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful celebration. And I want to say something completely not relevant to angels, but I think it's important. They have done lots of studies in hospice. It's very important for those who remain, the grieving ones, to do some sort of memorial for the person. That really helps people
Mm,
heal, even if it's just, taking a few friends at the beach or whatever. But to commemorate their life in some way, we obviously know they don't need that anymore.
right.
We need that.
I love that. And that's something really important to remember because other people like, well, even if there was a funeral and you went to the funeral, but what if you take that time and do something on your own just to memorialize the person who passed?
Yeah.
I think that's so important. I love how you said that because it is for the grieving to do that process, to have that closure and connection,
Yes,
connection. Because
100%.
I just hear when you have someone passing and you're working with the angelic realm, do you feel that person with you? Are the angels talking to you about where that person is at? How does that work for you?
Yeah, I love that question. So, how it works for me is, I have had several people pass, including both my parents 6 weeks apart. And then, get this, a year later, both my step parents, obviously completely unrelated, passed 6 weeks apart. Now, when
Wow.
I get to heaven, I'm going to have a little chat with them all. But so I've had, and then there's friends and that kind of thing. So I've had a bit of, and with each person, I've followed them in spirit. I got better at it. I don't, hopefully I'm good enough. Like, can we not have anybody keel over right now? Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Take a little break now.
we take a little break. But yes, you can follow your loved ones in spirit. You can follow them and you go, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, sit in prayer, connect with them. And at first you might start crying because it's like, oh, you start to miss them because you feel them. Let yourself do that.
Mm.
And then those tears will turn into ecstasy because you will be tuning in to what it's like just beyond that half a breath. That is life. So I told you I did the memorial for Ted on Sunday. And then on Monday, I have a book launch. And so I have lots of podcasts and meetings and appearances and all that. Oh my goodness. And I did something I almost never do. I told you about the rare disease in my family. So you can imagine a bunch of physicians are very type A, right? They don't really relax in my family. And I just when I need a little time with Ted, so I went to the ocean. So it's right literally at the bottom of the hill, and it's embarrassing how little I go to the ocean. And
Because you're a type A, from that family. Just
oh
saying,
yeah,
just saying. Okay.
just saying, it's yeah, yes, sirree. And so I went to the ocean and I was just walking with Ted, and he let me see life through his eyes of someone beyond life. And it was so beautiful. I started weeping at the beauty of just looking at a gray seagull
Oh, love
and then
that.
feeling the sand beneath my feet. I think he was through me experiencing life and telling me how, because we forget how precious, especially us spiritual types. Oh, I can't wait to pass. Oh, heaven. Oh, the other side. But but just life itself is so precious, right? Yes, I know we probably have tons of lifetimes, but life is so precious. even in this physical level where it is more challenging. We have this time and space
Yeah.
weird thing and all that. And it was so beautiful to just experience life beyond life within life. And I thought I was going to the ocean to cry. I wasn't. I was going to the ocean to experience that and realize that, when our loved ones pass, we worry like, oh, does this mean I'll never see them until I die? It's like, no, no, they are with you. And I disagree that people who pass become angels. I don't, that's not how I see it. I see it that there were angels, then they were humans for a while. Now they're in the spiritual realms and they're not angel or human, they're soul, right? Do we have
I love
angels with
that.
us? All the time. Do we have our ancestors with us? All the time. I don't think the ancestors are angels. I know that's kind of controversial, but I think that they're souls, right? And that souls
Yeah.
that came in and they were angelic, and there were souls that came in, they were human. And as mentioned, they were extraterrestrial, they were whatever, right? But are they always with us? They are. They are.
Yes.
And especially if someone passes, you want to connect with them shortly thereafter because they are close in for a while, then they move on.
I love how you say that. Shortly after they pass, start connecting. I don't know about you, but I've heard so many people like, oh, I don't want to disturb them. I don't want to ask too much. And I'm like, how in the world would you ever disturb them? Could you call them up at a whim when they were here? Why couldn't you call them now? And and it's just interesting how people have different ideas about
Mhm.
when people pass. Like you went and spent time with Ted, and I know he was just so excited to have that time with you because he
Mhm.
was not only a happy boy, but you were a happy girl.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, we are not bugging them. The worst that can happen is they're like, call an angel instead,
I'm busy. Call someone else. I'll get back to you later.
Yeah, yeah. Or they know like, oh, you're not quite ready to experience me right now because it would make you miss me too much. But they're gonna send somebody. They're gonna send a team of
Absolutely.
somebodies to bring comfort. So yeah, no, we are never bug. And same thing with angels, great archangels, infinite capacity to serve, almost infinite capacity. Only God has infinite capacity, but they have almost infinite capacity. So they can be helping easily help 8 billion people on the planet at the same time. So we're never bugging them.
I love that. I love that. And I know we are getting close to our time. I want to make sure I'm cognizant of your time, but I just want to go back a little bit with your book. And
Thank you.
you talk about your angelic name, the heritage, and then the higher purpose.
Mhm.
How do you, does the book, when people are going through the book, are they understanding? Do you go through helping them understand what this is, how to access it? Well, how do you cover that in your book?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question, and thank you for asking it. So I do not let them even think about remembering their name until chapter 6, and there's only 12 chapters in the book. So
So halfway, that's not bad.
halfway. Well, because I want them to have a really strong basis to accurately remember their name. And then I strongly suggest they listen to the meditation because I have a QR code with meditation so they can listen to it instead of reading it. It's hard to meditate while you're reading it. So once they hear it's really their archangelic name, which comes from the angelic language. So they will be hearing a few syllables of the angelic, which is nice.
Okay.
Once they hear that name, then they learn how to integrate it, how to, make sure that's the most accurate name. And then they take that and they start to recall their archangelic heritage. Well, was I descended from Michael or Gabriel or Raphael or another angel that I do introduce? There are many angels who have been serving in relative anonymity, like Mirael, the angel of light. There's many others. So who will I ultimately descended from, right? Which helps us then really connect to that angel. It's like are we all ultimately descended from God? Of course. Is God
Yes.
literally our DNA mother and father? Well, of course not. But do we relate to God more intimately, going, God help, the plane's about to drop out of the sky, as opposed to amorphous isness in the sky, help? No, God, Father help, Mother help, right? So same thing with angels. obviously we're descended from God, but God just brought us into the angelic through great archangels. God brought us then into the human through human parents, right? So, so once you start to discover your heritage a bit more, obviously it's a book, so we can't go totally in depth. That's why I have classes and things. But then you use your name to open up to your higher purpose, why God created you, what was God seeking to learn through you, not just this lifetime, but perhaps all of them.
I love what you just said. What was God seeking to learn from you? Because I think a lot of people don't realize that he's learning and whatever you want to call it, I don't
Mhm.
care, divine,
Exactly.
whatever. Um,
Exactly.
but he's learning through you. All the experiences you're having, it's not only that divine being, that God being that's learning, but also all the other beings that are there also learning from everything you're doing. Honestly, we're all teachers, every single one of us. In my opinion, every single person here is a teacher. On
Mhm.
some level, you're teaching someone, somewhere, something. So it's important to know we are all here making a difference, and you are making a huge difference. I've got to say, when you went into getting your archangelic name and understanding your heritage, what did you, as you started discovering your higher purpose for you, how was that for you? Was it like, oh, no, no, no? Or were you like, oh, yeah, that sounds good? How did that feel to you?
Well, it was, it evolves. Of course, we get closer and closer to it as we keep exploring it. You'll be shocked and amazed to know that my higher purpose, the ones we have three angelic names, like a first, middle, and last name. No,
Interesting.
the purpose connoted or offered by my first name is to bridge the human and the angelic realm. It
Ah.
sounds like a lofty purpose, and at first I was like, "Huh? That me?" You've seen all those bad habits lately, right? So that goes back to the worthiness. And then it's just like, see, the cool thing is God is not limited by our limitations.
Oh, yes. I like that. I like that.
So it's just would I pick it? I don't know. I might rather, teach people about the sound current of God or the Christ or whatever, but it's not my, that's my purpose. So
I
I'm
love
living that out as best I can.
And I think you're doing a wonderful job with it. I love, so I'm hearing my team is going, what is your thoughts on when people think I have to be in a certain space? I can't like joke around with the other side, with the angelics. What's your opinion on the communication? Is it just reverent, sitting back,
Oh,
or is it more
absolutely.
interactive?
No, it's totally interactive. It's totally interactive. And yes, you can joke around with them, and they actually have a pretty good sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like for example, when I was writing the book, I'm like, okay, Michael, Archangel Michael is really the one who wrote most of the book. There's lots of other angels in it, but he wrote most of it. Just because I have a really strong heritage with him. And I'm like, okay, Michael, I need five, Hay House wanted five, how people like five keys to, six steps to abundance. I'm like, okay, I need five keys to connect to great archangels. And he said, "You want five keys to connect to great archangels?" And I said, "Yes, please." And he said, "Okay, they are surrender."
That's it.
That was it. That was it. So, they do have a sense of humor. I mean, then he like threw a dog a bone and gave me some words. But really that is the very biggest key. And if we just really surrender and open, we will experience them.
And I think that's something really important to for people to realize. It's letting go of all the expectations so much that we put on ourselves
Mhm.
and free yourself from a lot of those burdens, those expectations, and like you said, just surrender. And for you, I mean, you've been surrendering for quite some time, sometimes struggling against it. I'm just hearing sometimes struggling
Oh,
against
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can be a total spiritual brat sometimes.
but I feel they love that little feistiness that comes up with you. And for them, it's more of like a little more of a challenge. And I don't know if you like, do you like horses or something? I don't know why.
I grew up riding horses. I was an
Okay.
equestrian. Yeah.
Because they're bringing me, my team is giving me, they're saying it's like the feisty colt that doesn't want to get trained right away. And
Yeah.
they're saying that's what they look at with you. It's more of that challenge, like, ooh, what can we do to get it over here?
Well, for the first time in my life, I chewed them out. I was upset about something. Yeah,
Only once you did?
that I recall. And I'm sure I've complained a boatload, but I was like chewing them out. And then I'm like, oh my God, and I'm talking to a very gifted practitioner. I'm like, oh my God, they're never gonna talk to me again. I've completely, he said, look, it's like a kid. I have two sons, right? Have they ever like been annoying and chewed you out and said mean things? Oh, heck yeah. Do you still love them? Of course. Like, and you think you're a better lover than an archangel? Like they can take it. They're like, they know that we have all this human nonsense. And so, not that we want to do that, and I haven't done it since.
Times.
I haven't done it since. I hopefully won't do it again. But they are unconditionally, just like God, unconditionally loving. So we don't have to be too careful. They're not so precious. It's more like the only wrong way to talk to them is not to talk to them.
And I totally agree with that. I don't for me, I don't care how you talk to them, just talk. Just open the communication. And that's something you have been helping so many people do, and especially with the business people bringing that in. You're bringing it to the masses, which, like you said, the light, there's more light on this earth now than is ever before. I'm super excited about the future. And I just
Yeah.
want to ask a little bit. What do the angels ever say anything about future or just humanity as a whole?
Well, let's see. I mean, they constantly, but like, you want to see what they have to say right now?
Sure.
Okay. The light will win and always wins because the light doesn't pick sides. Beloved humans, there's nothing to fear. You always reside in the heart of God, even as you do God the very great favor of walking this consecrated earth, gathering experiences like a daisy chain to place upon the head of the Christ. Know that we support you with every breath. So, with the next breath, turn to us and allow us to serve you. For surely you are so beloved. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank all of them because that is just beautiful. And I I think I can't think of any other way to end an amazing show than this. And I just want to say for you and for all those listening, what you just did, Alisha, is bringing that through to help people to move forward. And you talked about your voice. Your voice holds a resonance of the angels that people help and can hear and bring such healing to the world and understanding and remembering. And I think it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. I so appreciate that.
And in your book, you also have meditation. Is that you doing the meditation for
It
people?
is, yeah.
Yes.
So of course there's the audiobook. And so that's a little easier because I'm doing everything. But yeah, even in the physical book there and in the of course in the Kindle, there's a QR code, and then people can go to that to again, I really encourage people to listen to the meditations and just give themselves to the experience because it's a lot more effective in transporting, I believe. And I did read the audiobook too.
Love that. And I've got to say, what people just heard here, you could hear the resonance, you could feel the resonance. And that comes through with everything you're doing with this book. You
Mm.
are not just writing a book, but creating a frequency that's being added to the earth on a layer that's felt by many. So I appreciate
Thank
everything you're
you.
doing.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much for having me. I really am so grateful. And I just send so much love and light to you and to all of your listeners and viewers.
Well, thank you so much. Alicia, I am so happy to have you on. And I want to encourage everybody. I'm going to say again, your website, aliciadas.com. Go on your website and check out. There's so much. And order the book. Get all the extra things that go with it. It's well going to be worth it. I love the fact that you're putting the QR code to have the meditations within the book so people can help discover their angelic name, their archangelic name, their heritage, and working into their higher purpose. There's so much to be said in the frequency of a voice, and your voice has held the frequency of the archangels for very, very long.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you, Angel. I really appreciate that. I love how you allow your team to speak through you. It's very apparent and quite a blessing into our planet.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. They kind of requested it.
It
Hard to tell them no.
is hard to tell them no, but plenty of people do, and you didn't.
It,
You are
that's true. But thank you so much. And I want to encourage people, go on, check out her book, check out your book.
thank you.
It's the Archangelic, but what it's the
It's
Your
your
Angelic
angelic ancestry.
Ancestry.
Discover your archangelic name, heritage, and higher purpose. But all that to remember is your angelic ancestry, or just go on my website.
I love it. And make sure to check out the toolkit because you have the toolkit on there too.
Yes,
Because
I
I was
will.
looking at that and there's so much to be offered there. And your podcast, Live Your Love. And we
Yes,
all need more love out there for sure.
we do. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But I would just want to thank you so much. Thank you for being here, for sharing all of your knowledge, your frequency, because I just feel that frequency like a wave going out to the universe. So
Mhm.
thank you for adding your frequency to the earth, and it is so beautiful. Thank you for who you are.
Thank you, my dear, and right back at you. And I hope you go by your name, which is very befitting of you.
Thank
So
you.
it's been a delight. Thank you so much, and I hope we connect again soon. Thank you to everyone who's been listening as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Alicia. And I want to encourage everybody out there, make sure to watch the next episodes of Edge Talk Radio. They're on the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you've missed any of the past episodes, no worries. Go ahead. You can listen to them on pretty much all the downloadable podcasts out there. You can watch them also on my YouTube, Edge Magazine's YouTube channel. So watch them there. And I just want to thank every single one of you. Thank you all for listening, expanding, and amplifying our universe together. I love you all and